The manhwa begins with a professor telling a story about something that happened a long time ago. The story is about a bear that turned into a human and was able to join a successful bear clan. But there was also a tiger that couldn't turn into a human and joined a losing clan. After class, the main character Heijin is caught sleeping. A girl named Yoon Seo-jin asks him why he always sleeps in class. Heijin asks her why she's always bothering him. Yoon asks if Heijin is okay and he says that he has trouble seeing with one eye but it's probably not a big deal. Heijin leaves school and tells us that one day he gained the ability to see other creatures hiding as humans. These creatures try their best to blend in as normal humans. Later, Heijin is attacked by snake-like creatures and is left unable to move. Just as he is about to die, a tiger approaches. The tiger turns into a human and tells Heijin to hang on. The tiger fights the snake creatures and wins. A week has gone by since the fight against the snakes, and Heijin is still trying to figure out what happened. The tiger that saved him is now living with Heijin in human form. Heijin starts to think that this might be the same tiger from the myth they learned about at the beginning of the manga. However, the tiger says he doesn't know what Heijin is talking about. The tiger notices that Heijin is wearing a necklace and asks him to keep wearing it all the time, as bad things are about to happen. In another scene, Heijin is at school and sees a new student named Younghoo who he immediately recognizes as one of the strange things. During break, Younghoo gets into a conflict with some bullies, and when they start to intimidate him, Younghoo possesses one of them and causes chaos in the school. Seo-jin, Heijin's friend, sees what is happening and tries to tell Heijin, but Younghoo stops her. The three of them go home, and Younghoo wants to go to Heijin's house, but Seo-jin lies and says Heijin has things to do, so they go their separate ways. Later, when Seo-jin is walking home, Younghoo appears behind her and starts to insult her, calling her a bitch. Seo-jin goes to the top of a building and calls Heijin to hurry because she is about to jump. We see three guys joining Heijin as they enter the building. The guys are telling Younghoo to stop and that Seo-jin is not the person they were looking for. Heijin tells Seo-jin to hang on. Seo-jin says she can't move because Younghoo has control over her body. Younghoo becomes angry because the three guys are focused on Heijin and decides to throw Seo-jin off the building to test Heijin's abilities to save her. Seo-jin falls to the ground and Younghoo laughs, saying that Heijin is weak. Heijin tries to punch Younghoo in anger for what he did to Seo-jin, but Younghoo stops him and takes control over Heijin's body, making him paralyzed. One of the guys tells Younghoo to stop, but Younghoo gets tired of hearing it and kills him. Younghoo starts choking Heijin, but Heijin's body reacts and absorbs Younghoo's power. Heijin breaks free from the hypnosis and punches Younghoo as revenge for what he did to Seo-jin. Heijin continues to punch Younghoo until he finally kills him by sending him out of the building. Afterwards, Younghoo's power starts to absorb Heijin and he tries to run away, but is absorbed nonetheless and falls to the ground. The tiger arrives and the two remaining guys recognize him. At the scene, the tiger sees Heijin lying on the ground. The tiger catches the two guys trying to escape and threatens them for information. They reveal that they work for the Nocturne Demon sect. In another scene, we see a party where Nuna and several agents are discussing the tiger and Heijin. Nuna says that the tiger can break his seals, but she is unsure how. However, an infiltrator in a VIP suit is secretly listening to their conversation. Nuna discovers the infiltrator and starts fighting him, but the infiltrator quickly escapes and fights back. The infiltrator eventually reveals that he is a Ninetales fox. The scene changes again to show agents in a car who have received information about someone at the Black Dragon Club. They ask their leader for permission to move, and the leader agrees. We see Heijin having a nightmare while he yells "No," and wakes up abruptly. The tiger tells him to go back to sleep as it's still early. Heijin explains that he's been seeing these beings since he was a child, and his mother told him they were friends and not to be afraid. The tiger is intrigued and asks about Heijin's mother, to which Heijin says she passed away and gave him a necklace as a guardian spirit. The tiger mentions that he wants to visit Heijin's mother. The scene then changes to Nuna, who is still fighting the Ninetales fox. They become aware that there are people watching, and the fox uses that opportunity to escape. Nuna chases after him and eventually hits him. A woman arrives in a limousine and sees them fighting. Nuna mentions that it's the second time she's hit someone and they're still standing. The Ninetails fox can fly and uses fire to attack Nuna. They have a brief conversation, and the fox says he wants to ask some questions of Nuna's boss. At that moment, agents from the limousine arrive and order them to put their hands up. Nuna runs away, and the agents realize she's not human. The fox says he wants to know and asks them to arrest him. We see a camera recording the interrogatory that the agents are having with the Ninetails fox. It is revealed to us that the manga is set in the 1970s because the fox has an ID card saying he was born in 1971. The agents are skeptical and realize that the ID is fake after a few questions. The fox stops answering and reveals that he is, in fact, a Ninetails fox. He tells them that not just humans live in this world. In another scene, we see a being pretending to be human witnessing some bullies about to abuse a child. The bullies start to harass him, but he strikes one of them and tells the others to leave. Back to the interrogation, the agent still doubts that the fox is a Ninetails fox. The fox explains that every creature they once thought were myths has crossed dimensions to be on Earth. But he doesn't know when or where, it's different for each one of them, and they live among us. The agent reveals that they are investigating the demon sect and know that Nuna, Du Jianjiu, is not human. They ask what would have happened if they had shot at him, and the fox answers that he would have caught the bullet. He then reveals Nuna's real name, Shutterwalk. At the same time, we see Shutterwalk entering a place and talking to someone who offers her a drink. The chapter continues from where we left off, with Shutterwalk talking to her boss. The boss informs her that the government is already involved and tells her to pay a visit to someone, giving her a piece of paper before she leaves. The boss then starts talking to someone unknown on the second floor, referring to Shutterwalk as his tank. In another scene, the same mysterious being from the previous chapter is seen fighting more bullies. Shutterwalk arrives and the being reveals that they are from the same species. Shutterwalk tells them to stop and says she is there for business. 2 days later, the tiger is with Heijin. The tiger tells Heijin that he needs to visit his mother and explains that he was locked inside the necklace for 5,000 years. The tiger wants to know what happened during those 5,000 years and how Heijin ended up with the necklace. If he doesn't find out, the tiger says it will be difficult for him to love this world. Heijin asks the tiger about the powers he had while fighting Yanghu, but the tiger says he doesn't know. The tiger thinks that Heijin is not a regular human and that the necklace may have something to do with it. Heijin wonders if he is now a stranger like the tiger, but the tiger says strangers recognize each other. Suddenly, the tiger senses something wrong and feels the presence of someone else on the train. The same mysterious being from earlier appears and the tiger tells Heijin to get off the train quickly. The chapter picks up where we left off and shows the tiger trying to escape the train with Heijin. However, they are intercepted by the mysterious being who begins to fight with the tiger. The tiger questions the being's attack on humans, to which the being responds that Heijin is their target. The scene changes and we see Shutterwalk taking it easy when an agent arrives to ask about the being they encountered. Shutterwalk asks if the agent has ever read any Korean fairy tales and wonders if the agent thinks they are an elf. In another scene, the tiger continues to fight the being, who appears to be an elf. After a few intense hits, the tiger emerges victorious. The tiger proudly boasts their coolness, but Heijin warns them to be careful. Suddenly, a train runs over the tiger, leaving Heijin alone on the tracks. Out of nowhere, the elf reappears and invites Heijin to go with them. We see Shutterwalk trying to hire an elf to bring Heijin to her. The elf is shocked by her request. Shutterwalk explains that Heijin isn't important, but he is with someone very strong. In the present, the elf is disappointed because Heijin doesn't seem to have any powers. So, the elf hits him and asks if he's hiding his abilities. Heijin tries to bite the elf, who hits him again. Meanwhile, the tiger is searching for Heijin in the tunnel. The elf drags Heijin across the floor. Heijin is frustrated and angry, asking why everyone is attacking him. Suddenly, Heijin's eye turns purple. The elf is confused and doesn't understand what's happening. The tiger senses a strange energy and realizes it might be Heijin. Heijin has gained control of the elf's body, just like Yanghu's powers. A train appears and the elf manages to save himself by moving out of the way. The tiger arrives and asks the elf, "How dare you attack him?" In a new scene, Shudderwock and her boss arrive at what appears to be a laboratory. The scientist refers to his boss as Imugi. The scientist realizes it's the first time he's met Shudderwock and introduces himself as Huatao. Shudderwock is surprised by what the scientist looks like, as she didn't expect him to be so young. Huatao explains that he took a blood sample from Heijin and injected it into a test subject. He's impressed by the results, including increased resistance, physical recovery, and reaction time. However, there's one problem. The subject's body returns to normal after 24 hours. Despite this setback, Huatao says that what he's seen is very impressive, and he's never encountered anything like it in over 2,000 years of research. However, when the test subject wakes up, they show great hatred for Imugi and attempt to attack him. Shudderwock intercepts, hitting the subject first, and finally Imugi burns the test subject. Imugi declares that he's not a god, but he will challenge the gods. In the next scene, we see the tiger and Heijin in a boat. Heijin remembers the fight with the elf and asks why he was stopped. The tiger says that Heijin is dangerous and needs to go home. Shudderwock learns that the elf has failed and Imugi declares that he will go after the tiger. In the next scene, Heijin and the tiger arrive at Heijin's birthplace, the Island of Flowers. He finds his house, but it has been burned down. The tiger spots a tombstone labeled White Flower Goddess and asks Heijin about his mother. Heijin tells him that his mother was a well-known and respected shaman. However, Heijin can't remember how she died. When he tries to recall, he experiences a strong headache. The tiger notices that they are being followed, and suddenly a mysterious being appears behind them, saying a man's back is everything. Heijin recognizes the being from the past and feels like he was once close to him. The tiger asks who the mysterious being is. The being challenges Heijin to show his power, and they begin to fight. After a while, the being comments on the tiger's agility but lack of strength. The tiger starts to scratch the being repeatedly, but the being only responds that it tickles. The mysterious being falls to the ground and suddenly summons a giant totem. The being declares that Heijin and the tiger will now witness who he truly is. In this scene, Heijin realizes that he knows the being in front of him, whose name is Totem Ajusi. He senses that they'd been together before and that Ajusi knew his mother. Ajusi tells Heijin how much he has missed him. They then go to Ajusi's house and see an altar dedicated to Heijin's mother. Heijin asks Ajusi to tell him how his mother died. Ajusi explains that one night, a thunderbolt fell on their house while a man was watching. There's a flashback showing Heijin's mother talking to Ajusi about someone who pretends to be a dragon and will have the strength of a dragon. She's unsure if she can stop him. Little Heijin arrives and his mother gives him a necklace, telling him to wear it always because it will protect him wherever he goes. Ajusi and Heijin's mother were aware that he could awaken the tiger. Heijin asks who the man pretending to be a dragon is and Ajusi reveals that it's Imugi, his mother's enemy. The chapter ends with Imugi chasing the snake from the previous chapter and asking if he was the one who awoke the tiger and where he is. Imugi and Shudderwock are discussing an event that took place a long time ago. They're talking about a war between the bear tribe and the tiger tribe over who should rule the earth. Imugi says that not everyone knows about this war. He then explains that the leader of the war was the chief of the tiger tribe, who was also known as the god of war from the East Sea. After the tigers lost the war, the tiger name disappeared completely. Shudderwock realizes that the person they're searching for, the tiger, is actually this god of war. Imugi confirms this and explains that the Nocturne Devil sect is the one who freed the tiger seal. He says that they want to awaken the tiger to use him, so Imugi has to stop them. The next scene shows the tiger and Ajusi training Heijin. They train for days and weeks until one day, Heijin tries to control his powers and leave his past behind. Suddenly, he begins to remember what he had forgotten, including how his mother died. A man mentioned earlier was the leader of the bear tribe. Heijin, as a young boy, is shown crying and watching his home burn. This triggers an immense power within Heijin, causing him to attack the tiger and Ajusi. Ajusi realizes that Heijin has a secret ability to absorb the powers of others, including those who are dead. This ability was once held by the bear tribe leader. The tiger realizes that if Heijin has this ability, then he must be the only survivor of the bear tribe. Eventually, Heijin comes back to normal after remembering his mother. Ajusi and the tiger are sleeping when two guys show up and try to kill them. Heijin is training nearby and two more guys try to capture him. Heijin is unsure what to do. The tiger and Ajusi engage in a fight and it is revealed that one of them has the ability to regenerate, while the other has immense strength. The tiger asks if they are working for the Nocturne Devil sect, but the woman replies that they are a group of assassins. The tiger realizes that Heijin is the target and that this was a trap to capture him. Heijin is fighting against the two guys when he suddenly remembers Yonghu's ability that he absorbed. By focusing his energy, Heijin is able to use the power and take control of their bodies, completely changing the outcome of the battle. The assassins are shocked to learn why Imugi wants Heijin's powers. Meanwhile, the tiger and Ajusi are fighting the woman, and she mistakenly thinks that the tiger is a stranger and uses a combined attack. Back to Heijin, he continues to fight the two guys until his body gets tired. One of the guys takes advantage of the situation and chains him, leaving him unable to move. However, the other guy disagrees with keeping Heijin alive and wants to kill him. Imugi wants Heijin alive, so the tiger and Ajusi aim for the woman's neck in an effort to stop her. The woman has the ability to regenerate, but if her head is cut off, she will still die. The two guys continue to fight each other over what to do with Heijin. One of them wants to keep him alive, but the other guy uses poison to immobilize him and then cuts his tendons so he can't move his arms. In the end, he takes Heijin as his prisoner. We see the tiger and Ajusi succeed in defeating the two guys, but then they see that Heijin has absorbed their powers. The guy with the poison in him turns out to be immune and transforms into a more powerful form. However, he makes the mistake of killing the other guy, causing Heijin to automatically absorb his powers. This leads to an intense battle, but in the end, Heijin is able to defeat the guy with a shower of blades and by burying a knife in him. When the tiger and Ajusi arrive, they are shocked by what they see. In this scene, the elf is reflecting on how Heijin allowed him to escape to protect his family. Suddenly, Imugi shows up and inquires about the whereabouts of Heijin and the tiger. The elf informs Imugi that he doesn't know, as he lost their trail due to his injuries. Imugi reveals that he plans to take over the elf's entire village and all the strangers living there. The elf transforms and tries to attack Imugi, determined to protect his family. However, Imugi points out that he himself is a stranger from another dimension and has no family. In the flashback, we see the elf leading his village and being loved by everyone. He even has a partner named Mukwa. But one day, humans attack and kill many people in his village. The elf and his partner manage to escape, but as they walk through the snow, we see that Mukwa is aging quickly. Before she dies, she asks the elf to continue being a hero and protect their village. Back in the present, the elf tries to attack Imugi but is stopped and left unconscious. Imugi orders that the elf be taken away as he is useless. Shutterwalk then asks what they should do with the village, to which Imugi coldly replies, "Burn it down." In this scene, we see the fox and a police agent who infiltrated the White Flower Island. They are confused and think that Ajusi is the tiger. Ajusi discovers them and asks them who they are. In another scene, we see the scientist, Huatao, with a new test subject, the elf. Huatao is aware of the failure of the assassin squad in the White Island and asks Shutterwalk when the boy will be there. Shutterwalk, surprised that Huatao knows that information, says not to worry because Imugi has everything under control. Back on the Wither Flowers Island, Ajusi is trying to fight against the fox. Ajusi says that the fox tried to kill him the night before, but the fox is confused and explains that wasn't the case. Ajusi just wants to fight. So, the fox attacks and says that this isn't the time to fight, and asks Ajusi to listen to him. In that moment, the tiger arrives and the fox realizes that the tiger is not Ajusi. Heijin arrives as well and thinks that the fox and the agent are from the devil sect. The fox says they are not and explains that many strangers have disappeared lately and the majority of them were his friends. The fox says that there are people trying to take over the world and they act as an organized crime network, but behind it all, there is a stranger who acts as their leader, Imugi. Everyone is gathered and talking about Imugi. The fox mentions that the only thing standing in Imugi's way from getting to Heijin is the tiger. Heijin declares he will fight until the end, but Ajusi doesn't want that to happen because he has seen Imugi's immense strength. The tiger and the fox sense something approaching, and soon stranger creatures, accompanied by Shudderwock and Imugi, break into the house. Heijin is shocked to finally see Imugi, his mother's enemy. The fox realizes that these stranger creatures, who look like zombies, are actually his friends. Heijin begins fighting against them, but when he tries to absorb their powers, he realizes that it doesn't work. This is because Huatao had planned it all and the zombies were not vulnerable to Heijin's absorption abilities. Imugi sees his chance and brings out the snake, which we have seen before. The snake attacks Heijin, intent on delivering him to Imugi. However, the snake suddenly dies, and Heijin absorbs its powers. Unfortunately, when Heijin absorbs the snake's powers, he also absorbs its poison, which begins to kill him. Imugi asks Shudderwock to bring Heijin. Meanwhile, the fox is seen watching his fallen friends and apologizing to one of them for not being able to save them. However, Ajusi gathers everyone to help save Heijin. Shudderwock rushes to fight the fox, who is angry and seeking revenge. Ajusi takes advantage of the situation and grabs Heijin, getting away from there. The fox continues to fight Shudderwock, who transforms and starts attacking rampantly. The fox has no choice but to transform as well. After a bit of fighting, Imugi comes up behind the fox. The fox realizes that he doesn't recognize Imugi anymore, who led them for 500 years. Imugi says that he is looking for power in this world because without it, they would just be fairy tales, and there would be no meaning in respecting humans. The fox, angry with this philosophy, says that he can't imagine how many friends he has lost this year and starts fighting Imugi. The fox, despite his situation, declares that he will avenge his fallen friends even if it means sacrificing himself. However, the fox is unable to attack Imugi or maintain his transformation as Imugi claims to control the wind and rain, making him immune to fire. Shudderwock takes advantage of this and lands a powerful kick on the fox. Imugi is about to finish him off, but Ajusi intervenes and tries to attack Imugi by surprise. Unfortunately, Imugi is too strong and easily overpowers Ajusi. Imugi then insults Ajusi, calling him a shaman bitch. At that moment, the tiger arrives and attempts to attack Imugi. However, Shudderwock intercepts and challenges the tiger to a fight. The tiger eventually defeats Shudderwock and charges towards Imugi. Imugi, recognizing the tiger, says that he used to be the bodyguard of the bear tribe. The tiger is confused and doesn't remember Imugi, but Imugi reminds him that the tiger was much stronger in the past. Imugi then challenges the tiger to see if he still has what it takes to defeat him. We observe Imugi in his transformed form battling the tiger. After a grueling fight where Imugi believed he had won, the tiger fights back with all he's got, leaving Imugi in a terrible condition. Suddenly, Imugi transforms again, gaining an additional eye on his face. The tiger ponders to himself if Imugi could be an Ashin. We see a flashback with Ajusi and Heijin's mother. Heijin's mother explains that Imugi will become an evil spirit, called an Ashin, eventually. She says that an Ashin is filled with evil energy. We then return to the present where Ajusi tells the tiger, or Biam, as he calls him now, to leave. However, the tiger refuses and decides to fight Imugi anyway. Imugi immobilizes the tiger, but the tiger breaks free. When the tiger tries to attack Imugi, Imugi reads his movements and immobilizes him again. Ajusi sees that the fox is okay, but when the fox sees Imugi, he is shocked. Imugi has the tiger immobilized and is charging an attack against him. The tiger can't evade it because he can only see through one eye and has lost his sense of perspective. The tiger is hit and says that he has lost too much blood and has no strength. Imugi starts to charge another attack to finish him, but Ajusi starts to close everything with totems and tells the tiger to leave quickly with Heijin. Ajusi says that he can't take it anymore, he can't see anyone else die in front of him. Suddenly, Heijin appears behind Imugi and tries to attack him. Ajusi and the tiger watch this in fear. The tiger gets up, and that's how the anime ends.